Cryptojacking in financial sector has risen 269% this year, SonicWall says. Cyber attacks targeting the financial industry are now 5 times higher than attacks on retail. The number of cryptojacking cases across the financial sector has risen by 269% in the first half of 2022, according to a report by cybersecurity firm SonicWall. Cryptojacking is a type of cyber attack whereby hackers implement a piece of software that mines cryptocurrencies on a victim's computer. Victims often are unaware of the exploit, which has contributed to the rise in cases, the report says. In previous years, government, healthcare, and education sectors were the most common targets for cryptojacking. But there's been a dramatic reshuffling in 2022. Cryptojacking targeting the retail industry increased 63% year to date, while attacks on the financial industry skyrocketed 269%, the report states. The number of attacks on the finance industry is now 5 times greater than retail, which is the second highest. The rise has also been attributed to a decline in ransomware attacks, which is also caused by increased interest in cryptocurrency-related cyber attacks, coupled with more stringent insurance processes around ransomware. And ransomware actually becomes a little bit difficult because at this point, like most companies, most IT firms have figured out how to handle ransomware, right? Like if you get into a system, ransomware is where you get into a system, you lock down the files on some sort of file server that the company uses, and then you say, hey, pay me in, Monero, probably would be the best, but a lot of people were doing Bitcoin at the time when I was working in the industry, and send it to this payment address, we'll unlock all the files. If you don't, we're not going to unlock all the files, and therefore the company loses a bunch of data. Or alternatively, if there's some risque stuff there or compliance things that the hacker can release to get the company in trouble, they'll threaten to publicly release them. Now, for the most part, obviously you want your front-end security to be good. This is why obviously SonicWall is getting all these reports, because they're a popular firewall for most of the IT industry, if not all at this point. They're pretty ubiquitous, but not ubiquity. IT joke. At the end of the day, though, for that ransomware to take place, like there are other backup processes in place where you're getting daily backups, and then basically the IT company will come in, they'll restore it back to the latest previous backup. Everything will be good. And they'll just tell the hackers to pound sand. So a lot more invasive, smart way of doing this, obviously, with cryptojacking is just basically utilize your victim's hardware to mine cryptocurrency. Because one, it's hard to detect, especially in large firms. And two, it doesn't really require that they have any sort of interaction with you, right? So you don't have to worry about them as a hacker, having communications with them and getting payment or anything like that. You're just mining and then it's paying it out. There are ways to obviously block this on large networks and go through that process. I think figuring out how to, though, can be a little bit more difficult than figuring out ransomware at the end of the day, right? Because you have the people problem, which is the people click things that they shouldn't click. And then you end up with, some sort of cryptojacking software going across the network. Cryptojacking has a lower potential of being detected by the victim, like we talked about. Unsuspecting users across the world see their devices get unaccountably slower, but it's hard to tie it to criminal activity, much less point to the source. Terry Greer King, SonicWall Vice President for EMEA, told Tech Monitor. And all of that's true, but that is also why we talk to you guys about, being very careful with mining even on your home systems. And that's because SonicWall, all these antivirus programs, they're going to flag miners as malicious because, well, frankly, at the end of the day, they are being used in a malicious standard. And that also means that if there were going to be some attack vector on your system, then the best place to put that attack would be within a miner, because you will most likely be bypassing your firewall and your AV to go ahead and install that mining software. That's also why I'm not as much of a fan of Windows for mining, because you end up in this position where you just have a completely exposed Windows box, and a completely exposed Windows box has a lot more attack vectors on it than, say, just a locked down mining specific operating system like Hive OS or something along those lines. So that is kind of basically my 2 cents on it from the mining perspective. Thanks for checking out this clip from the Crypto Mining Show. You can check out the full episode here or more crypto content down here. Also, I'd like you to check out my locals page at sonofatech.locals.com, where you can become a member for free or choose to be a $5 a month supporter that unlocks additional content.